Hello there, everyone, once again, who decides to watch this video. Today, I want to show off my Ainz Ooal Gown from one of my personal favorite isekai animes, Overlord. Not many people talk about Overlord in general, to my knowledge anyway, and I haven't seen many people even try and do an Ainz build in Elden Ring. A lot of people that do normally do PvP stuff. I am a PvE focused build channel. I don't do PvP. I don't want to do PvP in these games, frankly. I want to focus on fun builds you can do just to have fun. That's why I don't really believe in the level 120 thing. You can, once again, these builds are always taken with, like, on your end a grain of salt. Whether you want to use something I don't, or something like that, is always up to you. If you think something suits the character better, by all means, go ahead. Now, first, I want to cover the weapons we will be using as Ainz. As you can see, if you look in the top right, the level doesn't exactly match what other people would consider a standard. But I use a Dragon Communion Seal with the Sat's Glintstone Staff. You can use whatever seal you want, and whatever staff you want for certain spells, whichever one you feel is better. But from my research, and it could be wrong, once again, I am not very good at researching things, I guess. But I did my best to research and make sure everything you could have is on. He says, without even putting the talismans, we'll get to the talismans later anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, so to my knowledge, these are the best base, like, sorry about the dog. These are the best base things you can use if you don't have a general spell set in mind, right? But if you do, or you just want to fill out these slots a bit more, then go ahead. It's all you. Once again, I just do these builds to give you a base idea of what to go for. Also, you'll see in the stats that I have certain things leveled up that you mightn't think should be. We'll get to that in time. But for now, I'd like to show off the spells I use on Ainz real fast before we get into fashion and stuff, because I have a special surprise with this Ainz build. It's actually a few builds in one. I haven't leveled every weapon I use in this build, but I tried to do a few builds from Ainz because I wanted Ainz to be a higher level character. If I ever got a character to max level, it would be Ainz, the sorcerer king himself. So let's cover spells first before we get to fashion, because fashion will be changing throughout the video. This will be a longer video as well due to that. But let's get into it. So the first one I use should be, for obvious reasons, Ainz being an undead. I use the Tibia summons. That for some reason didn't show up. Well, you saw him a bit over there. I get, maybe it's because of where I'm aiming if I do that, maybe. Yeah, okay, I have no idea, but hopefully now that I have an idea. So see the skeletons, they'll do that. If you lock onto a boss, it's a bit different. I don't know why it acts like that, but yeah. Moving on from Tibia summons, I didn't think it'd be that janky of just showing it off. I'm trying to do it in an area that thematically fits Ainz somewhat, and this kind of looks like Nazarick, I believe is what it's called. I haven't watched Overlord in a while. It's been a while since Season 4 came out. But anyway, I also use Noble Presence, which is not a sorcery. Embarrassing. I don't know if this is anything Ainz has necessarily used in the show, but I felt that it's something that could almost represent the aura Ainz carries around him, which is a very, like, scary and intimidating aura. A Noble Presence sort of gives that feeling. I use Black Flame as well, because if Ainz were to use a flame, I believe it would be Black Flame. Once again, evidence of me, by the way, having separate builds in this that I focus on other things is I forgot to move the flask over, but that's fine. There's also Black Flame Protection, which is pretty simple. It's just a protection spell. Because I'm sure everyone's heard the entire joke of Ainz buffs himself about 18 different times before actually starting a fight. I also like to use Unseen Form, which is a spell. Because I'm like 90% sure Ainz has probably turned himself invisible in the show at some point. Scouring Black Flames is another Black Flame spell you can use. I use Lord's Heal, which is probably technically actually dangerous to Ainz, but if you've watched the show, you'll know Ainz, when he gets stressed out, or like overexcited or anything, a green glow appears around him and seems to calm him down. I sort of picked this to sort of half emulate that. And it's a blessing also because it's a heal, right? So it's nice to have. And lastly, I use Rykard's Rancor, sorry. Just for the skeleton spell. Not necessarily something Ainz would use, like, but Ainz uses so many spells in the show, because... Alright, hang on, let me start again, right? I'm still getting used to it. Ainz has used so many spells in the show that honestly, you could use like any spell and it'd probably make sense. And that's sort of what I'm doing, because on my Ainz account, I'm actually going for every single sorcery and every single incantation, because of my stats, which we'll look at now. Here's the stat page. Strength is definitely a bit neglected. Mine is more neglected than it should be, but I'm going to be going up more levels later anyway. But I mentioned strength specifically because of a build I'll be showing you soon. Yeah, anyway, onto the fashion for Ainz. I use the Confessor's Hood, the Albrecht's Robe, I use no arms, and the Sanguine Noble's Waistcloth. The sources, just like the Asta video, will be at the bottom of the screen. That's about it with that sentence, actually. As for talismans, with me, I like to use the Scar Seals just to pump out a bit extra of the stats, or the Soul Seals even, but this is by no means a requirement of the build. You can frankly do whatever you want. I want to try and get away from these, but talismans can be so weird, but I'll give you the talismans I'd recommend otherwise. Graven Mass Talisman for more sorcery damage. Phlox Canvas Talisman, which I actually don't have on me. I guess I haven't done that part of Milton's questline yet, so I'll throw on the Faithful just as an example, but I'll put the description on how to get the Phlox Canvas Talisman, which is the better version of the Faithful Canvas. Radagon's Icon, because shortening spell time is good. If you don't want to use the Source Seal, which I recommend against, ironically enough, despite me myself saying I use it, I'll probably use the Godfrey Icon, or even the Odd Lord's Talisman. Even a Magic Scorpion Charm would do. The 4th slot, you could argue is a bit of a flex slot. These two especially, remember this is standard for Phlox, these two are probably the ones I'd recommend the most. Radagon's Icon is just nice to have. And then this one's a bit of a flex slot. Whatever you feel you want in this slot, you put in. Alright. In the Flask of Wondrous Physick, which I actually mentioned in Asta's video, it can be whatever you want. For Ainz specifically, I do have a suggestion. The Cerulean Hidden Tier, because infinite FP is pretty good for sorcerers, right? And then the Magic Shroud and Crack tier for magic damage is good. If you're using fire spells, the Flame Crack tier will work as well. Think about what you're using and obviously go with that, but in general, I'd probably recommend the Cerulean Hidden tier. You can even do the Cerulean Crystal tier if you just want more FP. Like, say you just use a bit of your FP, then you drink the Flask to get it all back, and then you use the Infinite, and you have the Infinite, sorry. You can do that, right? Anyway, let's move on from the Sorcerer King. So we're going to take everything off. And then the weapons are going to be a greatsword and another greatsword. Ignore the fact this has a blood thing on it. This is just my thing. This is nowhere near required, but you can if you'd like. And the Knight's Cavalry Helm, Malekith's Armor, Malekith's Gauntlets, and Malekith's Greaves. This, if you haven't watched the show, is a form Ainz takes to blend in with adventurers. He has taken the name Momonga, which I believe was his name in the MMO he played before he got sucked in. Ainz Ooal Gown is actually the name of his clan, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But this is classic double greatsword build. Not too dissimilar from Asta's build. In terms of talismans, I'd recommend, once again, I use Radagon Soul Seal, but this is very changeable. What I like to run is the Claw Talisman, because jumping attacks are kind of busted. I do run a bleed, so I like to run Lord of Blood's Exhalation. So that's what I run on him, because I have a Blood Greatsword. Not at all required, but it is nice if you are running a Blood Greatsword. Then I tend to run this Viridian Amber Medallion, because extra stamina on a Greatsword build is always nice. And then I also run Dragon Crest Talisman. There are probably other ones I could use that I'm just like forgetting. This one's probably not that bad. But yeah, that's probably what I'd use personally, but there are other things you can use. The weapon art is nowhere near required, it's just one I use. I know people use that a lot for Ichigo builds from Bleach, so you, if I ever do an Ichigo build, you might see the return of the vacuum slice eventually, but not right now. I don't know enough about Bleach to make an Ichigo build video. More on that in the future, I'm sure, whenever someone asks me to do one and I give a reason why. And I have to explain myself. Anyway, another thing I'd like to mention right now is that I use the Mimic tier to mimic Pandora's Actor, which is someone who takes care of, I believe it's like the treasure room of Nezarec, but we have seen him turn into Ainz for specific reasons, so I like to put him on. Sometimes I'll put on my Momon stuff, summon Mimic tier, then put on my Ainz stuff, or vice versa. Now, you might be thinking, oh, wait, hang on. Before we move on, like, the moron I am, the Physick, right? I, once again, don't actually have that many recommendations on the Physick. Health is always good. The opening hard tier is always nice, because it does get damage negation. Damage negation is very nice. This is pretty good. The Stone Barb crack tier, that would probably do you very well. So those are things to think about when doing it. I'm going to quickly just do that, otherwise I'll forget. If you want to run general, you can do that as well. Just half that. It just kind of works out. Anyway, now you might be wondering, I mentioned that I've done multiple builds, but Ainz and Momon are about the two most popular ones. That's because I decided to go a bit beyond. Talismans don't really matter for these next builds. It's kind of up to your discretion with that one. These are just recommended talismans. These aren't even required to do well in the game, in my opinion. But anyway, these aren't leveled up because I haven't exactly invested into this look for Ainz yet. I believe I've just decided to use these ones. We have a bit of a jester look going on at the moment. In Season 4, he enters a gladiator arena, which seems to be a constant in the show. When we get to the next one, you'll understand why I say that. He wears an outfit similar to this, although his was brown with a dress, and this is just the closest I could find. You can probably find closer though. But he has two short swords, which is something else you can run if you want to have a bit of extra fun. Nowhere near required. And then I also run a look that is, the Ronin Greaves with a falchion and a black leather shield. Once again, if you've watched the show, in Season 3, I want to say, maybe 2, definitely wasn't Season 1, and nor was it Season 4, so it's one of the two. Once again, there's a gladiator arena, except this one is in Nezarec. And before adventurers that come into Nezarec, under orders or something, it's been a while since I've watched Overlord, bear with me here. And Ainz does what he normally does and kills them. And does things that, in the light novels, that I don't think I can say on this platform. If you've read Overlord, you'd know what I'm talking about. Anyway. And this is what it's mimicking, just this outfit, because I thought it was cool, and this was actually what I used when I first made Ainz. I used this look, because I wasn't leveled, obviously, so I thought this would be the best one. Bloody Slash isn't required, I just like the Ash of War, so I use it. But yeah, that's about all in terms of that, so let's just put Ainz's stuff back on. But yeah, that's pretty much the Ainz build. You got the stats again, just so I'll show you. Got the look, and something that was suggested to me was to show the sliders for the characters I've done, just in case people don't have them readily available type thing. So I've decided that I'll start showing off sliders. Once again, I'm on a PS4 editor, so I can't do any flashy editing, so I'm just going to scroll through and show you. Sorry. I'll just go through and show you what I have sort of been looking like. There's a bit less to show on Ainz, but a bit more at the same time. We had different builds, but we could cover it a bit quicker, and like no Ashes of War and stuff. So, anyway, I do use aged. You head into detailed appearance. The voice doesn't care. I just have like a pretty much. Oh, that's not even pure white. I have this one as a skin color because use the pure white. Just use the pure white. I've decided. I use the first bone structure. These are these. He's bald, so nothing really you can do with the hair at all. He has no eyebrows, no facial hair, so once again I'll let you look at it. The eyelashes, so I use eyelashes 3. The eyes. Skin features. Cosmetics. Tattoo stuff. The tattoo is the lines under his eyes. We can probably just sort of breeze through this, but I'll keep it up on screen for a couple seconds so you can pause and adjust it if need be. And that should be Ainz. I think he looks pretty skeletal. The way I've done him, I think he looks good. Little side note on fashion, by the way, some people like to use Mog's chest piece instead of Alberich's. I prefer Alberich's because it doesn't make him look overly fat. That was a problem I had with Mog's, he looked a bit too fat, and I actually like the side gems, which are very similar to the ones Ainz has. But that's me, once again. You can take these builds with a grain of salt, add and discard what you like and don't like. You don't need to go to my level or anything. These are builds that you can do on a main character or even start a new character if you'd like, and you can try it out. That's all I ever want. I just want people to try new things and try weapons or spells or Ashes of War they've never tried before. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. That's Ainz Ooal Gown, the Sorcerer King, Momon, the Adventurer, and the 2 other forms he has taken. I've been Waka, thanks for watching, stay hydrated, eat some fiber, and have a good day.